Hello, this is the Mobile Market Apps tutorial series, and today we're going to look at maintaining and updating your app. First thing we're going to do is start out by going to www.mobilemarketapps.com, our main website. Once you're at the main website, go over to the Client tab and then go to Login. It will take you to our CMS login panel. From here, you're going to put in your username and password, and then log in. You're going to be greeted with the opening homepage. From here you have a number of options. Of course, you have the dashboard. Next to that you have messages. Here is where you're going to be able to leave a message. If you notice, you have a maximum of 128 characters. It's almost like a tweet. Now, this just shows you what it's going to look like when it pushes. Now you can either hit send, or you can click here and determine when you would like this to send, time as well as date. Click done, and at that time that message will go out to everyone that has your app downloaded to their mobile device or, of course, tablet. When you're done, close it out. Your next tab is your analytics. You click here and you can see all the downloads for your iPhone and your Android for the past week, 2 weeks, and month. Here's our help desk, so if you have questions, you can click here and get any questions answered. If you don't see your question, you can just type one in here and send it to us, and we'll get back to you as fast as we can. And the last one is your account. This shows you all your account settings. Close that out. Now we move down and we have 5 steps. Step 1 is the functionality. This is where you customize your app tabs. Step 2 is your content. Here is where you customize the content of your app. Step 3 is your appearance. This is where you customize the appearance of your app. Step 4 is the preview. This is where you preview the changes that you're making. And step 5 is where you publish, and typically we'll publish that for you. So let's click start here. And now you went to functionality, which is showing at 20%. Here are all the tabs you currently have live on your app. And looking across the top, we have the icon, is it active, the name that will appear on the button, the tab function, which tells it how to behave, and then the action. You can either go in and edit it, or you can delete it. Now, if you've already got tabs, which you probably do, you can go in and modify it. So if I click edit, then this screen will pop up, and this is where I can change the name of the tab if I don't want home and I want to call it something else. And then this is the function, and you're going to notice there are quite a few different functions you can assign to this tab. We have individual videos already produced for each and every one of these tabs, so please check those videos out to see what each tab does individually. So now that you chose a tab, make sure that it's active, and then of course you can click through here and find an icon that represents the tab that you just created and save your changes. Now if you like everything that's here and you still want to add something else, of course you just click and add new tab. And say we want to add some music to our tab, so we can say music. Choose a tab function. Depending on where you're going to get your music from, it could come from a podcast tab, it can come from a music tab, and these are pretty much your 2 places. Or if you want to direct it to a website that has your music on it, you can do that. So let's go podcast, and then we're going to look for an icon, and then save your changes. Automatically, any new tab you create will appear at the bottom of your tabs. Here you can move it to any position that you like. And then let's move on to step number 2 and add content to your newly created tab. This is our music tab. If you want to click on that, since we made it a podcast tab, we're going to need to look for an RSS feed. But I'm going to move back a little bit and show you some of the other tabs. Now that your tabs are populated, you may want to go in and change the address. Maybe you moved, Or maybe you opened up a new location and you want to add that. You can do that here, add new location. And now you'll be able to add another location, so you have two and you're looking to add a third. When people are coming to look for your location and they click on directions, they'll have the option of choosing one of the three locations. And here you have a section if you want to add some other content. Training videos, basically you just pull in your YouTube page and then you're just going to add your YouTube channel name and then click save. Here we have a number of forms, and we actually used the Wufoo tab to do that because we created special forms in the Wufoo. And creating special forms using Wufoo are extremely customizable. You can have us do them, or you can open up your own Wufoo account and create your own forms that you'd like to input into your app. So based on the website, we just have quite a few other tabs here that seem to be important to this particular business, which at this point is actually mobilemarketapps.com. Once you've made updates to any of your tabs, they should update instantly, which means you do not have to republish your app to the Apple or Android market. Now that those changes are done, let's move to step 3, where you can see how you can update the appearance of your app. You have 3 main sections. We have appearance, background image, and app layout. Now let's go back and start with the appearance. Here you have quite a few options. If you scroll down here, you have the layout, buttons, header, and colors. Let's start with layout. In layout you have 2 options, rows and columns. So say that you've done a new design, and you may have you may have used something up here and you have a lot of space down here. So maybe you want to go with 2 rows. So you click 2 rows and you want to make it 5 columns, not 4. Click save. And now if you notice, you have 2 rows and 5 columns. Next, it jumps you to the buttons, and you have 4 options when it comes to the buttons. The tab background, which as of right now we have no background chosen. The icon colors, and that's the color of the icon you want. The tab color, and the tab color would represent the tab background if you had one chosen. And then last but not least, the tab text. You can customize that as well. So if I were to choose a background, say I want to use this background. If I click on it, now you're going to see a background pop up. But I'm not crazy about the color. So I'm going to go to the tab color, and I want it to be more the same color of my background. So I can take that and move, and as you notice, the color is actually starting to change. I want to make it light and blue. Move that up. And then you just adjust it and play with it for a while until you get it to the color that you want. And say you want that tab text to change, so you may want that to be white. And that's how you make changes to the buttons. And of course you can also change the text. So now you want to add a header. Now this particular header is for the launch. If you're using a logo at the top, you don't want to have a header because of course it's going to cover it up. But if you do decide to have a header, you have plenty of them to choose from, and you can also change the color of these as well. Click on a few of these here just to show you. So we're going to go back to no header. We go to the global header, which is basically the one you're going to always use when you have a menu, and you can choose that, and then of course change the color of that as well. And then last but not least, your color scheme for the rest of your app. And then you have the native navigation bar, the section bar, odd row, and even row. This section represents the background color, this section represents the text, and this is the shadow that goes under the menu bar text. So if I want to change the menu bar, I can move that here, and you can see the color is changing, and so forth. And that's all you have to do to update the color scheme of your app. And then don't forget to save. Now let's move on to our second tab, which is the background image. Here you're able to upload backgrounds for both the mobile and the iPad device, and chances are you already have them uploaded for both if your app is live. This app is not live, so there are no iPad backgrounds uploaded at this time. So let's take a look at the mobile uploads. The dimensions can be found on the website. As you see, we have 5 backgrounds uploaded: a main background, a background 2, and 3 sliders. Typically, our main background is usually reserved for the background home screen. So we check both the home screen and the background and then click Save Background. This will give you a background, so that's no longer in this section, it's in this section, which states these sections already have backgrounds assigned. Now, to keep things simple, we're going to assign the rest of them to our second background. So we're just going to click Select All and then click the second background and then click Save Background Settings. Now all of our tabs have a background. This is the simpler way of doing things. If you create a new tab that's supposed to have a background in step 1, it will appear here and you'll have to come to step 3 and assign it to the backgrounds. In regards to the sliders, we've created 3 different sliders with transparent backgrounds, and here is where you assign those. You can click here and add your first slider, go to slider 2, add your second slider, go to step 3 and add your third, and you can have up to 5 sliders for your app. And then of course don't forget to click Save Background. And then the third tab is your app layout. Here are your active tab layouts for page 1 and page 2. You can make changes to them, or you can make them inactive. If you decide to make them inactive, they're going to appear up here in your inactive section. Now if you notice, for this app we have 2 tabs that are inactive: Events and Webinars. It's good to put them here because you can actually create the tabs in step 1, maybe add some content in step 2, and if you're not completely finished or happy with the way that the content is coming out, or it's just not ready for that tab to go live, you don't want people to see it, you just make it inactive. And if you decide you want to make it active, just grab it and move it down to where you like it to be, and then that tab will now become active. Then you can go back to step 2 and then add the content that needs to go in that tab. Now just a quick note, you can't have tabs that are inactive or incomplete in your app, especially if your app is live in the Apple Store. So keep any tabs that are not ready to be shown to the public in your inactive section. And that is how you update the appearance of your app. And now let's move on to step 4. Here, click on the preview, and now you will be brought to your preview app. And this is how your app will look on a phone. So this is where you can keep going back and forth from step 2 to step 4 if you're making constant changes and updates to your app. Your app will come up. Using your mouse, you'll be able to scroll through your sliders, and then you'll also be able to click and view each one of your tabs. So if you happen to be working on a particular tab, you'll be able to go to that tab and make sure everything is working properly. And if you're happy, there's no need to go to step 5 because your app is already live. Any changes here, then your app will have to be republished. Now if you find yourself needing your QR codes again, up here at the top you have QR codes. You click here and you can see your QR codes. And all you have to do is just click on the download button and save these QR codes to your desktop. And that is how you maintain and update your app. Thanks for watching.